Hi enjoyers, today we are going to create our borders for the map, and also we just add some meshes to make this stage look more realistic. And the results you can see right now here. If you want to get my completed projects and created assets, you can subscribe to my Patreon. There you can find some assets and projects from my videos. I would appreciate any support. Alright, let's start. First of all, we need to check out all our assets. If you skipped my previous video, you actually don't know what we do with what we did with our meshes. So double click on meshes, open them, enable no need, because this is optimization and we need it. We need a lot of this stuff on the map, and it will be cool to use no need to avoid some lags and freezes and other stuff. Also, you can click here, show simple collision. Now you can see this is a complex collision used as simple. You can also create using this button, you can add more precision, but because this is a floor, so player can walk on this, we need to make this collision precise as much as possible, so complex collision used as simple. If this is a wall, for example, in the other situations, I'm going to check this maybe, like this one. Click here, simple collision. You can see this is a simple collision, not complex. We don't use that because this is not a walkable area. Player cannot move on this one. This is just a border, so we're okay with just a simple collision. Alright, non-hit and collision. Now we need to create actually some border. For that purpose, I need to find out where player actually can go and fall away. For example, all this part is totally accessible for player, so we need to create here some border. I'm going to create this manually. I'm going to the landscape mode, sculpting. Here I can click on sculpt. Tool strength, I would say something like this, 0.5. Brush size I'm going to increase, and I need to rise this ground something like this. Actually, we can check it out using these canyons. For example, this one is not this one, this is angled. This is for our slope. But let's try other stuff. For example, something vertical like this. Actually, this is closed type of rock. We can use this as border by itself. But some of them, for example, this one is opened up. So we can use, for example, this. Actually, we can use this also on slopes, I guess. We need just a little bit turn this and make it like this, for example. Because if we create wall with this, player cannot climb here and see, then there is no actually cover for back part. But also let's find out something vertical. For example, this one. This is a vertical. We can't use this on slope. This is too vertical. So we can use it actually here. For example, I can put it here, like this. I can connect it here. And I can adjust actually our landscape so it will connect with this one. For example, let's go landscape mode, sculpt, and I try to rise something around that level. This is too much. You can click on shift and then left click, and you can lower up it. Something like this. Then you can click on flatten, and you can see now I created some border. Let's create the border completely like this. This is our border, and let's use sculpt to adjust a little bit. I think this is enough. Click on flatten, and now this looks okay. We can stop whatever we want. I'm going to use like this and connect it to our mountain. This is too much. We need to avoid destroying our mountain, something like this. And then I can click on smooth and smooth this part. so it looks more natural. Alright, now we need to add some cliffs here for this one. I'm going to use smooth as well, and parts there we can walk. And then here we have actually our cliff. Let's move it and connect on the edge of our created shape. So we can actually do this and try to connect it almost like this. Okay, now this is a wall. You can actually add more height like this. So basically this is what we're going to do. We need to create this wall. We need to create some slopes here to block player for moving up to this hill. We need to block here everything. We can use the same method with cliffs, and here also we need to create some slope with obstacles so player cannot move around. So I'm going to show you this all on increased speed without commenting, and I will comment only if I use something specific. So you will be able to see what I'm going to create, and all process you can see, but you must do it by yourself. I cannot share with you this exact same map just because Megascans has license. This is actually licensed props, and if you try use assets in the Patreon or somewhere else, I can get problems. So I'm going to show you how to create, but this part you must create by yourself. I can't share this with you. Yeah, so let's start. The first one I thought is that we can use actually assets as border without raising our landscape. Of course we can get some problems with lighting, but it is not guaranteed. So I tried it, I tested it, and a lot of assets was perfect enough, so I skipped that part with rising landscape. Another important part, I created one folder for all borders, so I can group them all together in one place, and I didn't create some chaos in my skin. Another tip for you, you can actually adjust your rocks and cliffs, you can match them with color and shapes, so you can get some continuation with different type of assets, and people will not notice that. Don't forget time to time check out your results, because sometimes you can find some mistakes, some problems, some blunders, and you can fix them before you create wall scene. For example, here I forgot to create collision for this cliff, and I found out it before I create the wall scene. The next tip is, if you have some landscape problems, some foliage interfere you can just replace it, remove it. Don't be afraid to change your previous created landscape, because you have now new stuff for your map, and if something old is interfering, you can change it. For example, this rock from procedural foliage is spawned on the way of my borders, so I just move it to make sure that I can create my borders properly. The next tip is you can add additional asset for background to create more realistic view if your two assets don't match together. Here I find out that I had a dilemmatic choice. First of all, my hill didn't match with my canyon type of assets, so I need either remove that hill completely and replace it by these canyon assets, or I could just cover all hill with that slope assets. Time for another trick. You can actually put negative numbers on scale to just mirror that asset, and you can get actually some kind of new type of asset using the same asset. At that moment I decided to surround the hill using assets instead of dealing with that right at that moment. Also I needed to adjust height using sculpting tools to make it look more natural. Here you can see exactly why I say that we need to erase our landscape, because you can see there was a lighting problem and direction light goes through this asset, and I try to solve it using the same asset, just rotated by 180 degree, and it didn't work well, so I needed another solution. I added cube and stretched it enough to cover that hole. Here I tried to cover our hill with background asset, which is much bigger than standard canyons, but it didn't work well. But anyway, I was going to use that later. Here you can see I created another second layer, another background. That time it worked. Finally here I decided to remove our hill, adjust it using our assets, just because that hill didn't work well with these cliffs. Here I finally removed all hills. The first layer and actual borders were ready, but I needed also create some, background cliffs, decorations, so the environment must look more realistic and natural, and at that point it didn't look like that. Okay, this is my final version for my borders and custom meshes for canyon. You can see right now I removed my hills, I make them flat completely and removed it here as well because they don't look matching for our canyon. Now it looks much better. You can see the player cannot move through these rocks, and also rocks look kinda realistic, so the player cannot ask questions about why he cannot move and fall away. And also this is our actual natural borders for the playable area. So yeah, this is it. Also we can add some other stuff, for example these small rocks, but this is not so important, and I'm thinking that we need to make them in the actual game skin. For example, when I create some buildings and some stuff for game, then I can add some rocks and just, make the level look more realistic. But for now, I think this is enough. I hope this video was useful for you. If so, hit the like button, share the comments, and also subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, enjoy. See ya!